All right, I'm going to start with the injury update. Demarius, we're evaluating to see if he can practice on Wednesday. So we're going to take the next 2 days just to see if Wednesday's the right day or Thursday, but things are trending in the right direction. Josh Bellamy, right now he's going to be week to week with his shoulder. We're still going through some tests of evaluation. So he's kind of up in the air as far as whether or not he can even practice this week. Jordan Jenkins with the calf, he's still progressing. You know, we're week to week in that situation. C.J. Mosley with the groin, still progressing. You know, same thing there. And then Sam has been cleared for non-contact. He'll start throwing today. He's working on his conditioning. He can't lift yet. And, you know, we still have some evaluations that we're going to have to do as the week goes on and kind of monitor what's going on with him. So as far as whether he's in or out for Sunday, that's still, you know, a question mark for us. We have to kind of let the doctors do their thing. I know it's not, you know, the clear and cut answer that we were hoping for, but the positive thing is it gives us a chance to get him out at practice and being able to go through all that stuff. He just can't have any contact. So that's really kind of the injury update. And, you know, with that, you guys can fire away.
Brian Costello, your line is active.
Adam, be clear that Sam would be able to practice Tuesday, but he would just have to have a non-contact jersey on, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, nobody should hit him anyways. But, you know, right now what they're telling us is he can't have any contact. So if we were playing the game tomorrow or Wednesday, like, he wouldn't be able to play because he hasn't been cleared for contact.
Rich from ESPN, your line is active.
Adam, just following up on that, so, you know, at what point in the week do you have to make a determination? Because clearly if Sam can't play, I mean, you have to get Falk ready, has to get some reps. So what is your cutoff point with making the decision on Sam?
Yeah, Rich, not ideal. It's not an ideal situation. That was the first question I asked as well. It'd be one thing if you're looking at, you know, a guy that's played in the league like 12 years or something that could, you know, we could go the whole week and all of a sudden get the rug pulled out from under us. But this is more of a situation of when you got a younger backup, you know, and if he was going to play, he would need the reps. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where the sooner the better that I have an answer. Right now, it is what it is. So, I mean, I just have to keep kind of preparing with a possibility of Sam going and then possibility that Luke might have to go.
Again, please hit *3 to ask a question. Connor from The Athletic, your line is active.
Adam, so is this a situation right now where Sam's spleen is still swollen? Like, has it not completely gone down yet then, and that's why he can't have contact?
Yeah, I think it's just one of those, this is like part of the process of this whole, like, I'm not an expert on the whole mono thing, but this sounds like this is routine as far as how they go about this situation. And it's one of those, like, I'm asking questions and trying to get as much information as I can so I can have a plan going forward, you know, for this week. You know, it's just a lot of gray right now.
Manish from the Daily News, your line is active.
Adam, the non-contact part aside, how much consideration will you give to resting Sam regardless, just because he hasn't had any conditioning? So even if he were, you know, in theory cleared at the end of the week, the fact that he hasn't really done any conditioning for 3 weeks, will that be a consideration for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at everything. That's been running through my head as far as, like, okay, how many, like, is his arm going to be okay? Is he monitoring how many throws he does per day and kind of like building up there? I mean, it's been a while since he's thrown a football. And, you know, the conditioning level, where is he at on that? You know, it's just, there's so many little steps we're trying to go through here. It just, you know, he's pressing to play. You know, he wants to be out there. Him sitting out the last few weeks has been something that's not ideal for him. And so it's kind of making the right decision for us as an organization. It's just going to be, Joe, myself, the trainers, the doctors kind of getting together and basically saying, like, all right, here's what we're going to do, and here's the right decision to make for not only for him, for our team. So it's, we're taking this thing day by day, and I think that's the best way for us to take it. We got to kind of see how practice goes. We got to see how he feels. We got to see how his arm feels. We got to see how his conditioning level is. There's just a lot of boxes that we got to check, before we can say, hey, we're rolling on Sunday.
Matt from NJ Advanced Media, your line is active.
Yeah, Adam, so when will he get back with the doctors? Is this kind of a situation where he's going to get checked up on every day as the week goes on, or kind of just how will the medical side of things progress as the week goes on, just as far as him meeting up with everyone?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to discuss kind of that plan with the doctors. I haven't met with the doctors as of today because we kind of finished off the week last week. Sam went through his evaluation this morning. So, tonight and tomorrow is usually kind of when I really have a sit down with those guys to get all the little details of what we got to do moving forward on some things. So, they're still gathering some information on some other stuff. So I have to be a little bit patient here as far as letting those guys do what they have to do with not only Sam, but with some other guys.
Again, please press star 3 to ask a question. Brian from the Post, your line is active.
Hey, Adam, just curious, on the offensive line front, during your self-scout, during the bye week, what kind of answers did you come up with to solve some of the issues you guys have been having up front?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things that we have to clean up. There's some things that we have to clean up from a coaching aspect. There's some things we got to clean up from a coaching or from a play caller perspective. I just think that really going forward, what we need to do is take what we're practicing and the way we're practicing and the speed we're practicing with and really transfer that over to Sundays, which we haven't done yet. I think, really we just got to keep looking to figure out what are the best 5 guys for us. And, obviously those discussions are always going to happen. It's part of the way the NFL is structured. When you're 0-3, like things stay the same, then that's our fault. We got to figure out what the best thing for us to do is moving forward.
Connor from The Athletic, your line is now active.
Adam, building off what you just said, does that mean that you're considering offensive line changes in terms of who your starting 5 are? And then in addition to that, with Sam's status now kind of up in the air, are you guys going to look to add a veteran or bring back Bales to the 53-man roster?
Yeah, as far as the O-line goes, we're going to work through that this week and kind of figure out what's best for us to do for Sunday. I would just say this: all those guys know that we're coming in this week, we're competing, and we're going to put the 5 guys that we think give us our best chance out there. Not really sure who that's going to be quite yet. And, as far as the quarterback addition, that hasn't been something that we really had a chance to talk about yet. I mean, we felt good where we were when we left for the bye week as far as, adding a practice squad quarterback, Luke being the backup. Now we just got to kind of revisit that and kind of see where we're at, once we talk to the doctors.
Rich from ESPN, your line is active.
Adam, on the Mosley situation, you didn't sound as optimistic as I thought you might be, coming off the bye week and anything. You almost hinted that he's week to week. What do you think his chances for Sunday are, and has there been a setback?
There hasn't been a setback. I think it's like him and Jordan both have injuries that are just, they're tough. They're tough to get back to 100% on, and with the amount of movement that CJ has to do, where he has to open up and burst and change direction, plant and drive, all those type of things, it has to react the way that he needs it to react for him to play at the level that he needs to play at. So right now, it's just until we get him out at practice, I feel like I keep looking at, we got to get guys out of practice, see what they look like, and before that happens, we haven't had a chance to do that yet. It doesn't look like either one of those guys are going to practice on Wednesday. So, every day that they don't practice, it's harder for us to evaluate as far as how are they football shape-wise. Like, how is that going to work for them? So, I mean, we got to get these guys out of practice. Once we do, then that evaluation process makes it a lot easier for us.
We'll take 2 more questions.
Manish from the Daily News, your line is active.
And when you did the self-evaluations of the coaching staff, and for you specifically, what are some areas in which you believe you need to improve upon?
Well, I think we have to do a way better job of making sure that what we're putting in our game plans are the best thing for our players, of where we're at right now, who we got playing. We have to do a better job of making sure that we're giving our guys the best chance possible in the run game. It's with who we're accounting for, what plays we're going to. It's the protections in the run game kind of go together in that. And then route concepts, we got to put our guys in the best position possible. And that's where, for me, it's like getting number one open. Like, that has to be the number one thing that we get kind of cleaned up as far as on my aspect of it, is making sure that the quarterback's first read, he's getting that guy's open more times than not. And I feel like so far that has not been the case. I haven't done a very good job of making sure that happens for the quarterback. I feel like they've had to work through too many progressions, and that's something that I'm really looking at, myself, to say, okay, I need to make sure that these guys are getting number one popping free. They can get the ball out. They get good completions. They get into a rhythm, which will help the rest of the group get in a rhythm.
Last question from Matt from NJ Advanced Media. Your line is now active.
One quick thing and then kind of a follow-up, Adam. So I don't believe you mentioned Quinnen off the top. So is he back to 100%? Just kind of where is he on his road back? And then the other thing is, a bunch of these injuries to key guys, Sam, Mosley, obviously the optimism before the bye was that these guys would kind of be back at least close to 100% by the time you got to Sunday of week 5. So it's disappointing kind of now having had this week of rest to not be closer to that point that I'm sure you would have liked?
Well, the good thing is we're closer than what we were before the bye week. So I'm looking at it like that a little bit. And Quinnen, yes, it looks like we're good to go with Quinnen. Unless something strange happens, like in Wednesday's practice, he has really made a lot of strides here in the last week. I felt good. He was pushing the week before to try to, he was trying to get going for the New England game, and I was very impressed with how he worked there. It's a tough situation with some of these injuries to our better players, but that's it is what it is. That's the NFL. That's going on across the league. I think after especially watching some of these games the other day, we kind of see who we've played so far to start the season. We've had a couple tough matchups, especially offensively, but there's so many things that we can take from those first 3 games and learn and grow and get better from, and going forward of really kind of knowing our team better and knowing what we can and can't do moving forward and where we need to grow and where we really need to make some big strides.